Hi, my name is Steve Delaney. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at the Orange County Employees Retirement System. As we near the 75th anniversary of OSERS in 2020, we're taking this opportunity to try to reach out to those members that have really lived much of the history of OSERS. Today I have the real wonderful opportunity to be able to talk to Miss Charlotte Egan, who's just completed 50 years of service to the County of Orange. And I think it would be of value to all of us to hear from Ms. Egan, hear her story, and see what we can learn both now and for future generations. So first, Ms. Egan, welcome. Thank you very much. It really is an honor to have you here today.
Thank you.
I think the obvious question from folks is kind of how you got started. Kind of let's take you all the way back, 50 years back.
Okay.
Kind of how did you learn about the position? How is it that you came to work for Orange County? And then talk to us about what that job was.
In the newspaper, I read about a public health microbiologist and at Orange County Public Health Laboratory. I did not, at the time, have to admit, in college they really had not addressed public health much at that time, so I was curious about what it was, so I called, I interviewed, and then I started working here in January of 1969.
And where was that office in 1969?
It was at Ross and Civic Center Drive.
Okay.
Yes, the building is still there, but it's occupied by different people now. The laboratory moved to its current location in 1983, which is over on 17th Street in College. So I worked from 69 to 83 at Ross Street, we used to call it, and then we moved over to our new location, which was really a wonderful move. We could park right next to the building. That was the main, draw. But besides a nice modern facility. Yes.
Talk to me a bit about your duties, starting from 69 and kind of what you did as far as your work for the county and how your duties may have evolved through the years.
Sure. I, first of all, I had to train. So all public health microbiologists need a bachelor's degree in some related subject to microbiology. So it might be biology. Now, in these times, you have like biotechnology, bio this, bio that. It might not just be straight microbiology. But you have to have a certain number of credits in certain subjects in college, and that's all approved by the state health department. Not the act, it's a branch of the state health department. So you qualify that way, and then when you're qualified to train, now we have to train for 6 months. And later I'll tell you how I was highly involved in that. But at the time I was hired, your previous experience could count towards your training time. And it was much more informal in those days. So I had so this was not my first job. I actually had worked in Ohio for 4 years before that in a research laboratory, and actually studying rhinoviruses, the cause of the common cold. And strangely enough, after a while at Orange County, I started working in the virus lab there. So viruses are my thing. So, so I trained first for 4 months. And then I took this exam, which is still something that our trainees have to do. They take a state, it's like a state board. So they take a state exam. It's quite difficult. And when you pass that, then you're qualified to be a public health microbiologist. Then I worked as what we consider a rotating microbiologist 1 for, let's see, I became a micro 2 in 1985. So I worked for approximately 15 years, 14 years as a rotating microbiologist, which meant I went from department to department. The reason I got that promotion in 1985 is because, if you remember, it was the beginning of the HIV outbreak. So at that time we needed to start doing HIV testing, and we were and we are still a very progressive public health lab in Orange County. Every large city has a public health department, like San Diego, San Bernardino, Riverside, Los Angeles, and then up north, you know, several more, Sacramento, Alameda, you know, there are many public health laboratories. But we were the first public health laboratory in California to do HIV screening all the time.
Tell us what kept you there for 50 years.
Well, all those changes, I mean, constant information, learning, just, you know, stimulation. Hopefully it will keep my brain stimulated, you know, until I'm 100 and I, you know, won't get all these terrible mind diseases that have been happening to people. So, yes, the learning. I mean, you know, I just always loved science, even as a child. I knew I wanted to go into the health industry in some way, medicine in some way, and also the service to the community.
So now let's take a little bit about the pension itself. So
Okay.
kind of start from your early career. When did you really first hear about the pension within Orange County, and kind of how did your knowledge about the pension grow and feed into your decision to retire?
Well, I knew about the pension from the beginning. As I said, that was one of the attractions of the job. Perhaps because my mother talked so much about, she grew up during the Depression, and, you know, it's the whole security thing of people, you know, from my era that, you know, I heard her parents were farmers during the Depression and how terrible it was. So this idea of financial security was always important to me. Yeah.
How did OSERS do in providing the information you needed to prepare for retirement?
Oh, just fine. Great. Yeah. You know, the seminars that are here every month, I went to one of those probably for the first time 20 years ago, you know, when I was thinking, you know, that I might retire at age 60 or something.
How about OSERS puts out a newsletter
Yes.
quarterly. How have those been as far as providing information you needed on pension through the years?
I would say, you mean the one we get in the mail?
Correct.
As I got closer to retirement, I studied them pretty well. But in the beginning, I'm sorry to say, hardly looked at it. I mean,
that's common.
when you're
Unfortunately, that's our challenge.
Yes. But, you know, I think it's a good idea because it reminds people
Right.
that, you know, you need to pay attention to this.
Well, Ms. Egan, I think we're ready to wrap it up. Maybe, again, knowing that we're going to be playing this in the coming year, and these are kind of be words of wisdom, they'll be out there, maybe not then, but on into the future as well. Any final thoughts for people, kind of maybe your little spiel to your coworkers that you've been trying to encourage, things that people should be thinking about as they too prepare for retirement?
I'm a firm believer that you should try to find work that you like, that you love if possible. Everyone isn't fortunate enough to find something they really love, but at least try to find something that interests you, that makes you, you know, want to go to work, at least most of the time. It's impossible to want to go to work every day, but, you know, most of the time. And then once you find that, just do it to the best of your ability, you know, and if you get a chance to serve your community in the same time, that makes it even better.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank
and as
you.
I say, you are welcome here anytime.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
So
Thank you.
maybe you come and visit some board meetings in the future. Make sure they continue to take good care of your money.
Well, I just may have to come in and monitor them.